braids?
That joke.
Nah, bro.
You never had braids? You had braids?
Of course I did.
Right, Luda.
They called me Luda back in the day.
Luda.
Yeah. How'd you skip the braids? It wasn't wholesome?
Nah, I couldn't do it, bro.
You weren't allowed?
Nah, you know what happened?
Afro didn't come.
No, you know what happened?
Yo, you guys want me to put you on some shit if you haven't heard it yet?
Let's do it, bro.
Done.
I wake up and teardrops, they fall down like rain.
You're not ready.
I put on that old song that we dance to and then
Y'all not ready.
I head back to the track. It's not much has changed.
I'm sorry now. I gotta show you. I gotta show you what we're listening to. Cause you're confused.
Yo, what the heck?
What is going on?
Let's go. Let's go.
This Saint Laurent.
Yo,
Come on.
what is this?
Let's go.
Hold on. I can't even hear it. Let's play it. Bring it back, yo.
Yo, stop this.
Bring that back, bro.
You wanna run it back?
Yeah.
Run it back.
Run it back, y'all. Let's go.
They fall down like rain.
Motherfucker spitting.
I put on that old song that we dance to and then
Yeah.
to the track. It's not
Yo, run it back.
Run it back, man. What are you
I
waiting
can't.
for?
I can't even hear that, bro.
Can't even hear it.
Nah.
Yeah, we can't hear it.
Oh, you know what it is? Here we go. There you go. How about that? What you know about those country vibes with the real ones?
It's like some hood Rascal Flats, bro.
Happy Juneteenth, y'all.
Not with the hype. The hype.
I know everybody's waiting for the 808 drums because that's usually what happens, but they don't. It doesn't drop. It doesn't drop. Hold on, I got some more for you guys. Obviously, let me give you some flavors. What did I tell you about 42 Doug? I told y'all about 42 Doug, right?
Bro, what is happening here?
A lot of things.
Just blew 100 on me, this a new 100.
Hey.
How's that feel? Familiar?
White Prezi cost
Okay.
50, bust out.
Okay.
It was for a couple with you up now.
Hey.
110 for a line, pour the cup out. CMG the label, so the cat white.
Not with the hype. The hype.
Go AP, that's my new bitch. Catch the speed on the east, clutching 2 sticks. Round one was on the house, this for you trick. Niggas always see me out, never do shit. Doggy bone too sick, call him M30. What you getting 48, doggy, then worth it. 30 for 30 in the air, I'm perfect. Red 6 inches, AP, 2 Birkin. You ran till the wheels fall off or I'm curving. Never met a nigga like me, she nervous.
I got
100,000
some
in the
more
red
flavors
bag,
for y'all.
Supreme. Young bad bitch, still I had the beans. Say her nigga turn doing bad to me. Too many restaurants can't even flash the
Who's ready to get that woo walk on? Woo.
This man really thinks he's a
Come on
DJ.
now. You know I'm the sickest YouTube DJ. Come on now, you know the vibes. Hey. Come on now, let me get the drops, dog. Gotta give him the drops, obviously.
Not with the hype. The hype.
Fully focused. I'm not feeling emotional. I get the money and pull it open. Yeah. They tell me don't go, but I'm still approaching. I need a whole lot of. Just wanna roll, I'm a globe. Fabi, there should be no problems. Get on my body. It don't bother. They say I'm the GOAT. I still look in
Yo,
the
when a
mirror
man
like
moves like Michael Jackson, though, these guys, like, I really fuck with this woo walk movement. I don't know if you guys know about it.
The woo walk. Okay.
Brandon, you know about it? The youth teach you yet?
Hey. Of course know about the woo walk. No, Favi 800 BC is my favorite. Everything he drops, I'm gonna be a fan of. I'm a big fan of Favi.
Whoa. So where you putting him? Like, where's he at? Like, is he ahead of Baby? Is he ahead of Gunna? Is he ahead of Uzi? Like, where's he at?
I gotta talk this because Zoe, listen.
All right, hold on. Let's intro the plot now. I know you got plenty. I know you got stuff to talk about.
It's not with a hype thing. A war.
Walk on, Govy.
The world general speaking.
Yes. Back again. What's good, y'all? What's good?
And then Brampton, my guy, still talking. Woo walking.
Brampton's finest.
of course. A lot of things going on in Brampton that I don't approve of, but once again, still the finest here, man.
Y'all gotta fix up.
And of course, it's your boy.
Chop like Shaq. You waste yo.
How y'all doing, brothers? Tell me how your week's been, Govey.
Jeez, yo, it's been a week, man. I had to disconnect from social media this week, man.
Smart guy.
Yeah, took a little break off IG for a bit, couple days, about 3-4 days. Which I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot for me.
That is a lot.
That's a lot.
And I was on Twitter a little bit, but I also tried to take a couple days off of that too. Just needed to cleanse my mind, man. It's been heavy. It's been a lot going on. So
Smart.
But we're good. I'm good.
Good.
It helped. That detox helped a little bit. So we back, baby.
Are you still black something and highly favored or something?
Black, blessed, and highly
That's the one.
favored.
That's the one.
Yes, let's go.
Yes.
Young, black, and gifted. Don't forget it, bro.
Oh yeah, that's the T-shirt. How you feeling, Brandon?
Oh man, it's been a week. It's been a week for sure. I wish I kind of unplugged from social media, but I went back to school. Had to give all the yearbooks that we worked so hard on the entire year. So got a lot of praise for that. But no, it's been exhausting, man. I don't know what it is. I hope it's good, obviously, to get outside and walk and whatnot and do fun stuff. But it's still exhausting when people are still talking about racism and it's people don't understand. I feel like everyone's.
So you're still feeling the fatigue of dealing with all of it.
Yeah, still feeling like a lot of people don't understand, and then they are inherently racist at some point. So, man, it's been a lot, man.
You heard this? You guys heard this bullshit about ally fatigue?
Yo, what is that? I saw that, but what is this, man?
It's like, I'm just tired of just riding for you black people, man. It's exhausting. That's what it kind of is. That's what it kind of is.
We gotta talk about that, man.
Yeah. I never heard of ally fatigue because that's bullshit. It's your responsibility. It's not a cause. It's responsibility. Okay, so fix up, fam.
Yeah.
It's not no social media trend. People thought they could put little black boxes and that fixes everything. Nah, bro. We've been dealing with this from time.
We've seen through those back boxes for a long time.
Trust.
So, just rewinding back a little bit to what we just happened on the intro. How'd you guys feel about RMR? That country-ish, hip hop dudes with ski masks and gold teeth.
The original Jamaican.
What'd you feel about that?
That's exactly what I felt.
That's literally how we
Yo,
feel.
I was with it until I saw the video, man. I'm not with that message. I'm not with that.
Was it conflicting, or is there art in the ironic juxtaposition of the country, beautiful ass voice, whatever he has going on, and all of a sudden you're seeing choppas and ski masks and gold teeth?
Yeah, that's what it was for me. Seeing those choppers, I was like, jeez.
But but you didn't hear the message though. He's talking about fuck the police. He's saying fuck 12 vibes in there.
No, I understand. I understood it.
Okay.
I was like, okay, that was. Yeah, it was. You are right though. That just the position of the two messages was kind of crazy.
Right.
What do you think, Brandon?
Irony, of course, right? I feel like you don't want to perpetuate the issues or perpetuate, the stereotypes that thing have. But the song was not fire. I thought the video, if I saw it just on mute, I'd be like, this is kind of fire. This is what it fits into.
Well, if you see that RMR video on mute, it's different. It becomes typical. It's atypical because you have the juxtaposition of these guys are singing country music vibes. They're these guys are blowing. If you look up their catalog, they have a project out, but they have a couple songs with Young Thug, a couple songs with Future. They're gonna be there. They're getting there.
Yo, I think it's hype that obviously Lil Nas X was one of them, but there's oh man,
I first heard them around that same time. Actually, funny enough.
Yeah. Something Blanco. But there's a lot of black people in a lot of rappers jumping into country right now, and I love it. I love it.
So we have a guest who's a special guest, but not really. But he is kind of really a special guest now because his cloud has risen. Our graphic man, our ponytail man, my brother from the same mother, Malik is here.
Yo, I don't even know if we can afford this guy anymore, yo.
Rate's gone up. We touched on it last week, but I just wanted to bring him here for a little quick 5-minute chat or whatever. Just talking about his article and what the response has been, because you guys have read it, and I think just the experience of a black man in Canada, in North America, highlighting what the key differences are from somebody else. I think that was very important or whatever. So I wanted to have him on here for a minute and speak his piece since we got the platform, of course. And he's our guy, obviously.
Let's talk about it, yo.
Get out the seat, fam. Put him on the seat.
What's up? Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to be seen. I don't know. That's not an option right now. Yeah, but it's okay. He could just like act out, like use his hands to act out my expressions.
Tell us a bit about the article and then what the response was like.
Yes.
Well, the response was really good. Everybody, I got a lot of people. Start with the article. What was the article? What was it even called? I haven't looked at it in a while.
I'm a young black man and I found my voice.
Yes.
Yes.
So I had the opportunity of writing this article with my now childhood best friend, I guess, Jordan, and basketball teammate from high school. We played basketball all throughout high school. If you know York Region basketball through those times, it was me and Jordan pretty much. Like, that's just how it was. And being us, especially just small, like, we would tackle the craziest shit in basketball. So that's my guy. I think you guys have both met Jordan before too, right?
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We all know Jordan.
Yeah, so that's my guy. We had the opportunity of writing this article with the Toronto Star from my friend Braden, who's a producer there, and also with Priya.
Producer, so friend of our.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yep.
No, Priya, yeah, I believe Priya's an editor there, so just funny how that worked out, where there's already that connection, and he reached out to me, and he's like, because from before that, I just started posting stuff on social media, so people were already reaching out to me, so he was one of the people that reached out to me, and he was basically just realized, he's like, I'm taking in a lot of things you're saying, and I'm realizing that you've been saying this stuff for years. Like, it's not brand new. Like, it's just nobody's really taking it in. So, we're fortunate enough to have a platform like that where now all of a sudden people are ready to really take in what us, and I mean us as black people, have to say. I just was the fortunate one with Jordan, really, and we got that platform to just speak up a bit about being black in Canada, being black in Richmond Hill specifically, and our school experiences and just his sport experiences, just our all around life experiences up here. And it's the feedback was really good. A lot of people reached out, friends, family, acquaintances, random people who've been inspired, people all over the world, really. Like somebody from Europe was reached out to me. I think it was in Greece. People all over Canada. There's people hating on it from Florida. But overall, the response has been positive, so that's really what it matters. There's really good YouTube videos that have dislikes, so that's the way I see it. You're gonna have a couple people that have something to say, but it's been really good. A lot of people have I guess, like, thanked me for opening up and sharing my experiences.
Some people have made YouTube videos about your article?
No. I'm just comparing how YouTube videos will have negative views. Like, I had maybe 10 people say negative things on Twitter, and I'm just saying, like, you know how YouTube videos will have 15,000 likes, but then 10 dislikes, and you're just like, who are those 10 people? and those people really don't matter. So,
exactly.
They're gonna be there always.
Yeah. That's what I would say to you, man, is like, no matter what, you're always going to have some people that hate it, but you can't even focus on that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You got to look at the people who are taking in the message and taking in your experiences and are using that as a way to learn more about the black experience.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Big on you for taking that platform, man.
Exactly. Thank you. And I've been having a lot of great conversations with people, a lot of people reaching out from even like a professional standpoint, like where how could I get help within my own organization now? So I'm having a lot of conversations like that. So, a lot of change happening offline that we're going to translate into something online for people to see. And it really, and I've been thankful and I've been grateful, but it's really starting off the back of having the opportunity to have this article. And then from there, people are like, oh my gosh, this guy has something to say. I'm like, I mean, kinda, so I'm going to use this opportunity as a time to just get all my creative vision out there, really.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give, like, we had Not With The Hype, like, love to give people their flowers when deserved.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I just really wanted to do. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week, but I just wanted to make sure that we had you on. You can say your piece and, give your flowers live. Here, applauso, air horn, gunshots, more gunshots. And thank you again for all the work that you do continuously. It doesn't go unnoticed within the branding of Not With The Hype and everything else that we have going on. So, flowers, applauso.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And Labeled will be on Toronto Star at some point.
Bigger.
Yeah, bigger. That's just like that's cute. Like it's also going to be there. You know, other people are going to see that and they're going to want to be a part. You know how this works. So that's the direction where it's trending. Where it's going to get to the point where people are going to want to be a part of it. Exactly. They're gonna want to be a part of it. So that's what we're striving for, really, not YouTube.
Well, yeah, thank you for coming and having that conversation. I want to say, like, in the middle of that happening, I think this is also, it was great that you're here because Zoom no longer gives us free minutes. So I had to, while this was going on, upgrade my account so that we can keep going forever.
Shit. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to send y'all guys a little invoice later for the split of $21.
Yo, you know what, though? This could be our last. I mean, we don't know yet.
I know.
We
That's
could
why.
actually be together in person soon. So, Zoom, it's been nice, but we about to be back, baby.
Hopefully, COVID is extracted, man.
Yo, we can pot in my gazebo. It's beautiful, man. I almost did it, but like we're entertaining a little bit, so I didn't want to be loud or tell those people to shut the fuck up while we take care of business.
Definitely. I know.
Be like, black voices are speaking again.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yes, sir.
But I don't know. Considering everything that has happened, I feel like our whole pod structure is kind of like this weird, like fucking. I don't know. Like it usually was like
it's
music.
It's an organic structure, man.
Yeah,
we just go with the flow, man.
Yeah, man. It's what it is. It's the best way. The best way it can be. You know, it used to be so structured before, but now racism is rampant. So
what I will say is like. Just to piggyback on the conversation we're having with Malik, and before we bring in our guest soon, but you know, I love that people are getting the chance to use their platform. You know what I mean? Yeah. Regardless of like Malik had the star, you know, I talked about the stuff that I've been doing at work, and aside from that, with Global News a year ago, Shaq, obviously the work that you did with Labeled, and beyond that, and Brandon having what you could say is like the biggest platform to really make a difference here with the youth, and
everybody's playing their part. You just got to play your part, man.
I love it, man. You got to use whatever platform you have to get the message out there that we're not going to stand for this injustice anymore and this inequality, man.
So I think that's a great segue. That's going to segue into a conversation once we get our guests in here. But I brought this up on the pod like a while ago, I guess, to do with you know, I guess you can call it straight up for what it is, racism that I experienced in my previous relationship. You know, with my ex being Indian and her parents being very strict about who she dates and quite vocal on how they at least the mom disapproved of her dating a black guy and et cetera. So like that, like honestly, I thought about it. I'm like, listen, I wonder in another universe where I'm like dating this girl still, and you know all the shit to do with what's really going on with systemic racism and George Floyd's murder and all these lynchings and shit that's really going on right now. Yeah. Am I gonna continue to just tolerate being like, yo, my parents might come home, so I'm gonna hide your toothbrush. Yo, my mom FaceTime me. Shut up. Just pretend like you're not there. Mom calls her, and I'm overhearing, you're still doing this. Come home right now. You're killing your dad. Wow. And like within dating, I think there's a lot of those things where you're like, all right, you're dating a brown girl, that's just what it is. Or you're dating an Italian girl or whatever it is, where like there's those stereotypical racist traits that you got to just deal with if you're dating outside of your race that I dealt with. And I'm only bringing this up not because of I'm just reaching, but because I recently saw that my ex is seeing another black guy, and that really, I just didn't. I was so confused. I'm like, why are you dating a black guy right now? Like today, out of all these times to date somebody outside of your race, I don't know.
That is crazy.
Oh man. Okay, this is a really convoluted topic, of course, too, because I've seen it from even like the Italian perspective as well too, where the parents are just it's already there's so much it's entrenched in their upbringing in a sense, right? And I'm okay. Respect to you and what you're saying, Shaq, but in the South Asian community too, man, like, especially in Brampton, because I grew up with a lot of different races. South Asian community is a lot of racism is entrenched in how they've brought up. In a sense where a lot of them are, using the N-word freely. Saying things about Black people too. Just saying things about them in a sense and not supporting who they are.
Eating our oxtail. Eating our oxtail.
And calling it oxtail sauce.
Yeah. So that it's not only the white people. Of course, there's so many different races that have just negative stereotypes for the Black community, and a lot in Brampton. And that's something I brought up at this staff meeting. I'm like, yo, there's at this school I was at for 1 year, so many South Asian kids are saying the N-word without knowing its impact. And there needs to be education. There needs to be staff and students need to be trained on exactly how to go about it, because it is hate speech. It is hate speech, right? So there's so many different things like that, and so many different stories I can tell you guys. But it is a problem. I'm
gonna tell you what I did, and I want to see if you guys agree with what I did, and we'll open it up to other people. So I saw what I saw, and like, mind you, like, I'm fairly removed from the situation. Like, I'm not wishing I could still be with her. I'm not thinking about that relationship anymore. It just is what it is. I moved on. But if you're still dating Black guys, I think it's insensitive to the time. It's tone deaf, being completely tone deaf. You're not getting the point of people being this frustrated and angry. So I felt like I had to say something, and I did call her, and I told her that I felt it was my responsibility, being the guy that she last dated that was a Black guy, that even if he knows, this isn't the wave. Like, you need to have discussions before you can get to the point where you can just go and date a Black guy, and he's not going to deal with it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to know that people are just not really fucking with you based on your skin. I'm gonna let you guys say something, and then I'm gonna let these girls in. Yeah, man.
I definitely hear you, man. I was definitely frustrated and still am frustrated for you. And I've had someone from the South Asian community explain it to me and just say that part of the upbringing is just historic racism been entrenched into them from when the British took over and deemed it like dark-skinned people were bad, dark-skinned people were the enemy. And it's just been a cycle repeated. And I hope it changes, but as Brandon was saying, there's work that needs to be done, man. Yep. And I hate that you're going through that and that you had to see that. And yeah, man.
Hey, don't worry. I'm not going through it. Like, I'm not going through it. But like, I had to do it. Yeah, I just felt like it was my responsibility. That's all.
No, I'm glad you took that time to educate and explain. Why they need to think about what they're doing. But,
yeah. So people are so tone deaf and so foolish, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't want to get in on and obviously cast aspersions on one person, but they just don't understand where it comes from, and it's just insensitive. I think we're taking the burden of being people that are being insensitive, and it hurts us. And it's like, fuck, you don't understand what you're doing, fam.
Factual. So now I'm gonna let a couple fellow podcast girls and Patrick's gonna do the intros this time. Here we go.
Yes.
We have.
Yes. So we got.
Let me get the soundboard ready. Let me let the audio get connected.
Okay. Let's connect the audio. Let's see.
There we go.
They're popping up.
There we go.
What's going on?
Hello.
Patrick, go ahead.
All right. Oh, wow, the background.
The branding is key. Branding is key. Go Brandon. Go Patrick. Go Patrick.
Wow, I like this.
Definitely. We want to welcome you guys to the pod. We got Jackie and Katie Ann here from the Black and Pod. Want to definitely shout out to them.
Yeah, welcome. Hold on. Air horns, gunshots, then you can give them all that.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome to Not With The Hype. How you doing?
They're like, wow, this is crazy.
I know. If you haven't listened, man, these ladies run like a wicked podcast that's up and coming, and definitely want to support our Black sisters. You know what I mean? So definitely happy to have you guys on, and yeah, let's get into it.
Thank you for having us. This is
she comes through. Hey,
I love their mics.
Yeah, I was about to say
they're way better than what Pat had.
Anyway, I think offline you guys got to give them some of your guys sauce, like the Patrick's mic, Brandon's mic. We got to get everybody mic'd up.
Don't worry, we got you guys.
I don't do well with technical difficulties,
Love it. Yo, trust me. Right now we're dealing with 5 different Wi-Fis right now, so this can get messy at any point.
This could get ugly. We'll see.
We'll see.
Well, first of all, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing during this climate, during this time in general, everything?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm just chilling. I'm hanging in there. I feel like there's not much you can do during quarantine, so it's like taking it day by day. But I'm okay. How about you, Katie?
You know, I'm existing. No, I'm kidding. I'm good. You know, every day is a new day. I take it hour by hour, to be totally honest. Just because I feel like so much can change in a few minutes just from like scrolling and stuff like that. So take it easy, you know.
So Patrick kind of gave us a little bit about your podcast. Can you guys let us know everything we need to know about your pod? Because I feel like from what I've been told, it sounds like the female version of us.
That's what I said.
Okay. No, I'm kidding.
There you go. Hold on, let me get the soundboard going.
Yo, get the soundboard going, bro.
Yo, stop this.
No, tell me.
Yes.
Yo, Katie, we need
a
soundboard. We need a soundboard.
That was about the ball.
My ad-libs are not enough. You're saying when I bust a plomp, bullet, it's not enough, Jackie? It's not enough?
We need a soundboard for sure. But I'll let you take it away because you're the long-winded one. So go ahead and explain the podcast.
Okay. So pretty much anyone listening, if you've never listened to Black and, it's our podcast, BLACKAND pod. Pretty much it's a safe space for the 3 Black women who host it, which is myself, Katie, Jackie, and our other co-host, Crystal, you know, our voice of reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's honestly, it was designed and created for a space for us to hold conversations that we didn't feel like we could always have in a public space, whether that be like shooting the shit to really talking about the nitty gritty shit that especially is going on today. And we just wanted a space to be as candid as possible, be as Black as we need and want to be, and take up as much space as we want without being questioned by anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what she said.
That's pretty much what we do here at NWTH as well too. So
definitely.
Perfect.
Damn.
Yeah.
I guess I'm the voice of reason for us then, eh?
I don't know.
We're seeing parallels. Okay.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I don't even know what to call. Like, I mean, Patrick is the voice of reason, but I don't know what to call Brandon, and I don't know what you would call myself.
I'm not gonna say button for you, but for me, it's definitely like the mall. I don't know. It's a good question. I really have no idea at all. Right?
Wait, hold on. Sorry. Who's button? Who's more like button? That was funny.
The light skin man.
That's a very big. I feel like that's a very big personality to take on.
All right, I take that back.
I mean, I don't wild out as much as he would. Like my shit still. I'm still like I'm a wholesome dude a little bit. Not as much as Pastor Govey, but I'm there.
You better take that whore. Okay, can we get a soundboard with a sound? Come on.
Black Shack.
Come on.
Yes. Okay.
So actually, it's because now I get it. Okay, you guys pod the same way we pod. Let me just bring you right into what we were just talking about. So we were just talking about, considering the current, I guess you can call it racial climate. Yeah. I was, I guess, a few months ago dating an East Indian girl. Her family was fairly racist. Now, I think a week ago or whatever, I found out just because she's whack and puts my family and her close friends on Instagram that she's dating another Black dude. I basically I don't feel anything about like the relationship, or I could care less. But my whole point is that I felt like it was my place to have to educate her on, now of all times is probably not the time to do that. I feel like considering all the things we went through, to me having to hide my toothbrush in your place, and anytime your mom called and FaceTimed you, I had to hide and things like that. Why are you still dating a Black guy? You should not do that. Have conversations with your family, then figure it out, then see if you can still, if it's at all a palatable thing to even be doing right now, because you got to think about the dude. Mm-hmm. Was I wrong?
No, you're 100% right. I feel like if me as a woman, I know that my parents or my family does not necessarily like the type of men that I like, there needs to be a conversation had, because obviously you went through your own situation. It didn't go well. You guys broke up, but you technically have the scars to show proof. So it's like her going out of her way to like pursue another relationship with a black man. Basically, it's like you're putting another black person through that. It's like I feel like you're passing on traumas instead of addressing what's happening in your own house or your own family's like ideologies on race.
Right. Is the onus on her, Katie? Like, do you think the onus is on her to address it? Like, is that her elephant to deal with, or is it just on the black dude? Because you should know better. You're dating me. This is the situation you're getting into.
At the end of the day, racism is not our problem. I don't care what anybody says. It's not our issue to deal with. It's not our issue to solve. And at the end of the day, like her family's issue with race is for her to address. Because, actually, sorry, before I get into it, she's clearly not self-aware. Because that's what it sounds like. And I don't mean to like completely, granted, I don't know her or this whole situation, but just the fact that she would continue to put other black men in that situation, knowing that there clearly is work to be done among her family. I don't think it's appropriate to subject someone to that environment without at least warning them first, because they're either going to go in head first, guns a-blazing, or they're just going to fall back and be like, you know what, I'm good. I'm not going to subject myself to that, because it's not about her. It's like, I don't care how much you want a dude to meet your parents. If you know that your parents are automatically not going to like him because of his race, that's something that you need to address from jump. So I 100% believe that it's on her to address that. That is not his problem. He is not the issue. He's not the one with the issue.
Exactly. So I was about to say, like, is him being aware enough? Like, guys, what do you think?
Yeah, man. I felt like I agree with Katie 100%. Like, she needs to address that issue before even getting into the next relationship. You know what I mean? And now that she's already there, you still need to have that conversation with your family and just let them know, like, either y'all are going to be on board or you're not. And then you have to educate them on why their thinking is wrong. Like, you know what I mean? That's not up to the dude to take that on and be like, I need your family to like me or whatever. That's something they have to do.
Right. It's like black people are already taking the burden so much through all the stuff we're seeing right now. And to be honest, I'm from Brampton, so I already know, like, you don't probably you don't have a relationship.
I know. Honestly, Brandon told me. He told me, he's like, but I didn't know.
Of course, you have to learn through it, right? 100%. But it's not always like that. Like, I have seen people, being really just black and brown, but it really takes the family dynamic to be good. And the person to be self-aware. I don't think the person that he was with was self-aware. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was just, the entire situation was crazy. But no, I just think the South Asian community is just not informed enough sometimes for a myriad of things. Not only just dating, just like using the N-word and so many different things that I can get into right now. Right. But I don't agree.
So I have a question that I want to throw to the ladies. So let's open this up a little bit. Dating outside of your race. Are you doing it? Are you into it? Is there like a couple steps you got to take to even open yourself up to that possibility, especially when we're talking about white people? Like, what are we doing?
Not just white people.
I'm open to dating outside of my race. I don't mind. However, I've said this multiple times on our podcast. Like, I just love like a black man. Like, there's certain things that other races I don't think could give me that I need from like a black man. I'm open to it. It's just that I haven't come across anybody that would make me think twice about dating outside of my race. But it's not like I'm walking throughout the world and being like, no, thank you, no, thank you. Just like, nobody has passed me that kind of has like opened my eyes to anything otherwise. So yeah.
When you say there's things that like you could only get from like dating a black man or being with a black, like what exactly are those things?
The black men want their flowers right now.
Basically.
Like just the commonality, like just the simple commonalities of like we have shared experiences. Like if I'm like, I don't know, it's a great feeling to know that like when I go to bed, like the person beside me knows exactly what I went through, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I feel like there's a level of like, if I were to date outside of my race, I feel like my partner wouldn't be able to get it 100%. Like, I feel like you can only understand it from hearsay because I'm telling you about my experiences, but actually experiencing it is totally different.
Right.
And so, and also I feel like Oh, I'm gonna sound so bad saying
Say it. I love it. I love it.
I feel like people outside my race, they just don't have the spice that I need. Like I can't.
What do you mean?
I
Say that. Yeah, of
They have no
course.
Scotch bonnet, yo. They don't know.
Thank you. Like I don't do courtesy laughter. Like people just sometimes it just doesn't work for me. Like you know.
Oh, you mean courtesy laughter, as in like what I do is usually, haha, that's crazy, like that stuff.
But I won't do that though. Like if you're not funny, I won't even give you that.
He looks at you dead in your eye. Like it's actually horrifying.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So what about you, Katie? You open to dating outside of your race? Have you done it? Like, what are your thoughts?
I have not dated outside my race in the past. I'm currently in a very happy blackity black.
Say it with a big B. Let's go.
Listen, I'm gonna need everybody to say that B with their chest.
Yeah.
Capital B.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I was never like completely closed off to it. I was always just kind of like, because I truly believe that people kind of just like who they like. And 100% people have their preferences, but I'm one of those people, I like who I like.
Mm-hmm.
I just happen to really love black men. Like, it is what it is. And I agree with Jackie. There's just certain conversations that are a little bit harder to have. It's not to say that you can't have those with non-black people, but there has to be so much. They have to have already done the work. That's the problem.
Yeah, you don't want to have to black-splain.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I already Jamaican-splain everything to my partner now. So that in itself is a lot. So it's like, I don't want to have to always have. Yeah, it's like you don't want to have to.
I gotta ask what he is. I gotta ask what he is.
Oh, he's Rwandese. He's from Rwanda.
Rwanda.
Okay. Rwanda. Nice.
Yeah. So I just feel like it's not. How do I say it? You can't go into a relationship, I would say, with someone who's non-black and be naive to the struggles that you will face. I'll say that much. Personally, I really try to choose my struggles accordingly, and I have never come across anyone that was just like, yes, let's struggle together.
Right.
No, it's not happening.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just never a thing. So yeah.
That's funny because we were talking about ally fatigue?
Ally fatigue. Yeah.
I had that conversation yesterday.
Yuck. You think that's hard? Try being come on, like being the target.
Exactly.
So is ally fatigue like bullshit or what? Because that's what we came to the conclusion
Absolute
of before.
bullshit.
Definitely. Like
They've been tired for what, a week?
Yeah, we had this conversation yesterday, and we boiled it down to the simple fact that like you're retired after a week and a half. Like imagine 27 years of doing this. Like for us, this is not something that we can just put up later on and go to next week. Like this is the daily life, and it's like I feel like if you're going to put forward yourself as an ally, you really have to be ready for the long haul. Like this is not some temporary thing. This is not some like 1 week thing. Like this is for the rest of our lives. And if you are really about the cause, then buckle up because it's a long ride. Like we're not even anywhere close to where we would like to be in this whole situation with race in our society. So like it's a long ride.
Yeah, I agree. It's you have to really like. You gotta be prepped for it. We were counted out at birth, and that's what it means to be black in this society. So it's like we've been knowing this fight, right? We fight it by default. So it's just like if you make that decision to be an ally, that's cool and everything. But talk to me in a year, right? If you're still bopping and rocking with us, let's go. But if you're not, keep it pushing. I have no patience to force anybody to be an ally. If you don't want to be an ally, it's all good.
You're on the other side. That's cool.
Agreed.
But I will. No one understand. I will rip the connect line out the back of your head. I will.
Katie.
Understand this.
Stop, Katie. Okay, simmer down, please.
We're not doing this. It's not our podcast.
Talk that talk. Let's go.
I love it.
Do I have to turn me off though for like this podcast? Or can I
not at all.
No. Turn it all the way up.
All the way. Crank that.
I was gonna ask a question about allyship, but I'm done because Katie just ripped them. But
Okay, sorry to the people then.
No, it's all right. They'll live. But with non-black people, especially with I had a kind of like an argument with people about this today. non-black people that have to kind of check, saying that, yo, the N-word, like, yes. Like, I'm from saying, like, the only people that can use the N-word are black people. And they're like, no one should use the word because it's derogatory. We should never use the word. Like, wipe it out. But I'm saying, yo, you can't tell a black person not to use the word that they've been belittled with for centuries, and now trying to, redefine it. And, in a sense,
can't give us rules about this shit. Is basically what it is.
Rules about this shit. Like, what do you guys say to that? People saying that, yo, no one should use the word. Not even black people should use the word.
Okay. Is that message coming from like non-blacks, or is that message coming from black people?
This is from non-black people.
Oh, they can't tell me what to do. Like, point blank, period. You're not going to tell me how to use this word. As long as you don't use it, that's all they should worry about. How me and my people decide to use it is our prerogative. There's some black people that don't like the word at all. They find it offensive, and that's their prerogative. That's their choice not to use the word. But if I choose to use it, you as a non-black, that is not your wheelhouse to tell me anything. Like, why would you take on such a conversation? Like, it's like putting yourself in the fire at that point, because it's a losing battle. Like, makes no sense to me.
Facts.
Nigga, let's talk about it for a little bit.
Come on now.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna drop it. I knew you were gonna drop it. I love it. Let's go.
I 100% agree. I don't think it's the place of anybody who's not black to tell a black person how and when to use that word. First and foremost, I'm actually very curious why non-black people keep trying to have this conversation about the usage of the N-word. It's not for you. It was never used in a way that was supposed to make us feel good about ourselves. So when it comes out of the mouths of non-blacks, it's triggering. And that's what they don't understand, right? Like, you understand the hurt behind the word. You understand how it stripped us of our humanity. And to this day, you continue to strip us of our humanity as people. But you want to turn around and tell me no one should use the word if you guys can't use it? Get out of here, bro. Hold that out. I'm tired.
The definition of entitlement.
Honestly, though, that's the definition of entitlement.
How about this scenario that I think we've all been through since we all went to elementary school? I think. You're reading, not even elementary school. This might have been like early high school. Like Underground Railroad, those type of books.
Yeah.
So you're reading a page. It finally gets to that page where that nigger is gonna that nigger is about to happen. That nigger is about to happen. What happens? Because in my experience, it has always been the white teacher either saying it, empowering whatever nervous white kid it is that is reading the thing to say it, or force the black person, i.e. me, because I live in Richmond Hill, went to high school in Richmond Hill, me to say it. What are your experiences? What are your thoughts on those scenarios?
That situation has actually never happened to me.
No way. You survived.
Never.
Survivor.
It never happened to me either, yo.
What, Malvern? They just knew better?
I live in Scarborough as well. So I guess they just knew better somewhere in Scarborough, because that's never happened to me.
So is this a suburban experience?
I think
it might be a suburban thing.
It's just more progressive than any other board, because we definitely read To Kill a Mockingbird. I don't remember if my teacher did, but I'm literally gonna check him. I'm gonna check him when I see him next.
Oh, because you work with him now.
I personally have never been in that position where it was like in school. I've seen it with other people. I've been around it in other settings, but not necessarily in school. But no, you don't get to say it like at all. I don't care if it's in a book. I don't care if it's written big bold letters flying across the stage. Like, it's just not okay. When I was in grade, I think 11 or 12, I presented a poem, and it's a poem that used to be it's from Def Jam Poetry, and it's called Niggas a Nigger. And the poem is literally like, the poem starts with you screaming that, like, nigga at everyone. And I screamed this to a bunch of white people in an audience for my Black History Month assembly. And in that moment, like, even when I had to get it approved by our principal to make sure, even my teachers were just like, there's no approval process for this. If you feel the need to present this and you feel like the message is
we can't tell you. Yeah, we can't tell you shit. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. They're just like, we, as non-Black people, it's not our place to tell you whether or not you can perform this. Which is what
it should be.
And then I had all of my Black teachers, the one Black teacher and all the non-Black teachers that were like championing the Black students that were just like, yes, present your thing, you're good to go. So it's like, no, it's not their place to police how we say it, when we say it, and it's not their place to say it. I do not care.
Yeah.
If it's freedom of speech, creativity, it doesn't matter.
Nah. I hate when I'm at a concert and you'll
don't
be
look.
like, rocking along, and then boom, you look to your right, you look to your left. Oh man.
But in those situations,
so
there's not much you can do because it's like you're in that like in a concert setting. It's like you're an individual amongst like a crowd. Like I go to concerts pretty often, and I encounter that all the time. But it's like this like crippling feeling where it's like I would love to page you right now, but this is not the time or place. But you know better because you see people locking eyes with you.
Yeah,
but that's probably the most irritating thing ever.
When All Gold everything was popping, and I seen Trinidad James at fucking Molson Amphitheater. I had to look directly at Trinidad James because I knew not to look anywhere else when he went with that nigga. Come on now.
Yeah. No. And the thing that's sad about concerts is like, especially when you go to the bigger ones at like ACC, so like a Travis Scott, that crowd is full of non-Black people.
Oh yeah.
So if you are the Black person, like you really sit there and it makes you uncomfortable because you have to kind of plot how you take somebody's neck out without catching a whole charge on the way out. Because you just kind of have to pick one person who said it if you really want to like come for someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't fight everyone.
Yeah.
Energy, I love it.
So, considering we have our J. Cole subject matter expert Patrick Dennis Jr. the third, aka Pastor Govey, present, as well as a couple Black women, which I think is perfect for this pod. It couldn't have happened any better, because I didn't honest to God, I didn't listen to the song. Patrick knows, these guys know, I don't fuck with J. Cole. He puts me to sleep. It's just way too boring. But sorry, very honestly, harsh.
Right?
We won't know, but that's not the point. We're not diving into that. We're not going to dive into it. We're not diving into this right here. We're talking. Yo, I remember one time when Patrick and I both. I hate these guys. When Patrick and I were both working for Urbanology magazine, I had to cover the J. Cole concert. I was standing outside the concert, and I legit texted him like, "Yo, you around? Yo, you want this ticket?" I don't want to do it. So,
honestly,
anyways,
it's like that.
Patrick, can you talk about the J. Cole controversy in his new song? And I want you guys let's discuss it because I didn't understand it because I didn't listen to it and I still refuse.
This guy. So I don't understand the whole thing. I'm just gonna say that from jump because a lot of this confused me. But so he dropped the song out of nowhere. It's called "Snow on the Bluff." And it's typical J. Cole being his, typical lyrical,
sleepy.
Almost, I don't want to say activist, but like he's really being thought-provoking, in my opinion, anyways, in the song. But a lot of people on social media took offense to it and thought he was going after another activist, if you will, named Noname, who I'll be 100% honest, I never heard of until started trending on Twitter. I had no idea who she is. I still don't really know too much.
Wow.
So hopefully you guys can educate me on that. But
is that who sounds like Blueface with the thesaurus?
Yeah, exactly.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't disrespect her like that.
But I never. So like I listened to the song in a pure way, like I guess like not even being jaded or thinking about this person at all. I just thought it was J. Cole saying like, listen, like I don't have all the answers. I'm not a leader. You shouldn't look to celebrities and rappers as being leaders. And I was like, yo, like I get that. I understand that message. Not everyone is a leader. Not everyone's an activist. Obviously, we're in this movement together and we're going to support each other. And he was out there protesting, but that doesn't make him a leader. Mm-hmm. And that's just how I saw it. But clearly, a lot of people felt differently. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Like, when it comes to this Noname and J. Cole situation, once again, it's a little confusing because it wasn't on my radar. Mm-hmm. So I kind of was able to put pieces together once both songs were released. But from my knowledge, I believe Noname had made a comment like a couple weeks ago, or at least when all this protesting happened, about like where are your favorite rappers, like, because at the time I don't think J. Cole had actually been seen protesting. I think it was like a day or two after. And so she was asking a general question, which a lot of people were asking, media too. Like,
did it feel targeted or was it just like a general?
It was general, like no name. She just said, where are your favorite rappers? If your favorite rapper is fucking Machine Gun Kelly, then I guess that message was for him.
Machine Gun Kelly was in the streets. He was in the streets. I seen him. He was on the chopper. He was on the chopper. He was on the chopper.
Don't kill me.
Don't come for Machine Gun Kelly.
No, nothing about J. Cole, but Machine Gun Kelly, he's
right? Yeah. The smoke, right?
Odyssey though, right? Mix up.
You know what I right? I love the fact that like you just know what you know, and you're just like, yo, there's just something I just don't know.
Yeah.
Facts.
Do you think?
Sorry.
Do they have to be like in the streets? Like, because what we were talking about before you guys hopped on, is that like between just us on this podcast, we're all doing our parts. None of us are protesting at all. Like, I'm not walking, I'm not marching. I don't have no signs. I haven't been downtown in like 3 months.
Same.
Okay, so I haven't done that. However, I'm doing my part, having the conversations with the people that are around me that aren't of my race, that are just completely ignorant. I've also done a documentary about race and stereotypes, and I'm working towards doing more shit like that. Patrick's making changes within IKEA and his business and work over there, and from a corporate level, which is huge, of course. And then you got Brandon over here with an education, he's talking to our youth and whatnot. So like, we're all doing our part. Nobody's in the streets. Do our favorite rappers have to be in the streets?
No, because there's so many other ways you can support the movement. However, I understand what the importance of optics and the importance of being seen. And it's one of those where it's like, people need, even you could like donate $1 million, but unfortunately, if you didn't post it on your stories, no one will know about it, and everyone will have this narrative like you didn't do anything, but you'll be doing bare things behind the scenes. So it's like, realistically, they don't have to, but with the need that followers have for their like idols or for people that they like to listen to, like I feel like they need that, unfortunately. But I don't think it's anyone's place to ask anybody for anything. Like, so if they don't want to be walking throughout the streets, I'm sure they're doing something else.
So Virgil Senton's doing better than J. Cole then?
It's $50. Yeah.
I don't even know how to respond to that one. Take that one away. Take that one away,
Virgil
please.
Sent, open bracket, J. Cole? Question mark? That's the episode title right there. I figured it
out. Oh, dear God.
I love it.
I agree 100% with Jackie. I think this idea where we keep calling on people to protest is beyond me. Jackie has heard me say this 110 times. All skin folk are not kinfolk, and stop expecting people to have the same ideologies as you. Just because a person is Black doesn't mean they champion the movement the way you do, first and foremost. And second and foremost, I also would love for people to stop getting so sensitive about everything. She made a call out. She made her statement. She said what she said. If you feel like the spade that she is calling out, that's something for you to unpack.
Right.
And I think with Cole, I think what just kind of threw me is first of all, how did it get this far? She made her comment cool. It might have been out of turn, but is she lying? No. Now, people like Cole, and I've always been a diehard listen to every single track ever created Kendrick fan.
Yeah.
And me not seeing Kendrick in the streets I didn't even question that. People who have been championing this and fighting this fight for as long as they have, I don't need to hear your voice right now.
Exactly.
Because again, like Jackie said, I don't care about the performative actions. I don't care about your posts. I don't care about who's in the protest and who isn't.
Yeah.
Everybody's activism looks different. Everybody makes change in a different way. Honestly, if you feel the need to be on the front lines, be on the front lines. If you can make change in other ways like you guys are doing, whether it be with the youth, on a podcast like this, or in your current workplaces, unfortunately, you will get flack for the fact that, you're not tooting your own horn on social, but that's cool. At the end of the day, the Lord knows your heart and you're fine. But I do think it's very, very odd that people keep screaming at people like, where are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
If people don't want to be loud right now, and honestly, some people are not vocal right now because some people are just tired.
Facts. Exhausted.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Like it happened. Like, yes, the whole George Floyd happened, but people are kind of exhausted too by the performative activism. I find it exhausting.
100%.
It almost makes me not want to use social.
100%. I didn't do that this week.
Yeah.
I took a week off from Instagram and everything because I was like, yo, I can't like, am I not doing enough if I don't post something, or am I being too showboaty if I post something? Like, I was like, you know what? I just need to do my own thing in my own way and just clear my head. So
That's
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, oh, my bad. It sucks sometimes, guys. I'm sorry. I was gonna say, the other day, me, Katie, and my other girl, Crystal, were having a conversation about sometimes we just have to learn how to let our allies like do the work for us. I feel like as Black people, we take so much on, and it's okay for us to have a day off and be like, you know what, I have to stay off social media. It's too much because that's what allies are for. It's like I feel like a lot of progression in this conversation won't necessarily go forward without allyship. So like if we decide to take a step back, it's totally okay. And so like when this whole protesting thing first started happening, I was posting on my stories, I was trying to give people information, and I had to like stop and tell myself like, Jackie, you actually don't have to, like you can go hard if you would like to, but if one day you don't feel like doing it, it's okay because I'm already Black as it is. I feel like I'm already a walking like sign of some sort to people. So it's like, it's okay to take a day off.
Yeah, I think like the way that things are set up, it's not set up for Black people to be the voices of change alone. You need allies. You need them white allies as much as like we want. Like this is a Black issue. Like I feel like the way that this is set up from a systemic perspective, we can't just rise up and systemically change things on our own, especially with on the rate that we demand it. Like it would take way longer if we did this by ourselves.
Well, we also don't have the infrastructure for it, right? Yeah. Like, unfortunately, like our systems have been, first of all, the system was never created for us. No. So acquiring the structure to do so, a lot of us don't even have that. And that is literally where to start. Most non-Black people, most non-Black people have those structures. They're able to actually make change. We need to make change at the legal level, which is why the conversations around police reform are coming up and setting in certain laws like the Breonna law, where it's like you cannot just enter someone's house and start firing shots. So it's like change needs to be made at the what is it? The legal level?
Yeah, judicial.
Unfortunately, I don't know if you guys think different, but from what I can see from America to Canada, enough of our faces are not in those spaces for that change to be made by us alone. Right? So it's like, as much as I know some Black folks don't like to hear it in terms of our need, like us, quote unquote, needing allies. But the truth is, as long as we don't exist in that space, an ally has to be the one to be like, yo, come through.
Facts.
Let me hold this position for you because this is for you. Once you are in that position, you better run, like hit the ground running. But until you're in that position, how do we get there?
Can I play a clip? Sorry, before you guys keep going, it still has to do with this. Of Cameron doing math on the system not being set up for us. Because if you guys know Killer Season, you guys remember this. But Killer Season taught me this a while ago. Listen.
The way this shit go is you supposed to fucking go to high school, go to college, get out of college, make $30,000. After that, they gonna take taxes. After taxes, you down to $20,000. You gotta get 10% of that for your student loans that you've been going to fucking school paying for. Now you down to fucking $12,000 a year. Your rent is fucking $500 a month. Now you down to fucking $5,000 a year. You gotta eat. How you gonna get fresh? This shit is not scheduled for us, man.
I love how he said, how you gonna get fresh?
That was the way to end that clip. How you gonna get fresh?
Damn.
But that's a legitimate question. How are you gonna get fresh? Like,
but after all of that, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, and the system's just not set up for you, how are you supposed to live lavish? How are you supposed to have the things that you aspire to have if you're just following the rules of doing what's supposed to be?
Even the basic necessities.
Exactly. Not even lavish. Just like, yo, how can I just get a place where I can live, like a roof over my head and food to eat? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Katie, to what you said too, obstacle allyship too, and having these people in like the powerful places, powerful positions too. I feel like a lot of these companies, they put one Black person in a powerful position, and it's like that person is tokenized. They're tokenized, and it's like you don't have enough of those people that are in those positions to do certain things. Like for instance, like I'm a teacher, and my board, they're like, okay, Brandon, you want to speak about this? Like Black people shouldn't have to take the burden of doing all this work, and sometimes, right? But there needs to be like, I don't know, what's your thoughts on tokenism, especially in the workplace?
I know we're laughing because we have this conversation all the time.
Go ahead, Jackie, go.
Okay. I think it's so unfortunate. Like when this, because we're in PR, like we both graduated with degrees in PR. So when this all happened, I remember we were driving in a car and I had said to Katie, I'm like, I can only imagine being the only Black girl in a PR firm and having my higher ups look towards me and be like, what's the correct way to like draft out a message about like us supporting Black people. And it's like knowing like that alone is a lot on an individual because when you are a token, you are essentially to these white people or to these non-Blacks, essentially you are like the soundboard for every Black person on this universe.
Facts. You're the representation of what a Black person is to a lot of people sometimes.
Yo, I had to make that very clear. Yeah, I had to make. Sorry, I was just gonna say I had to make that very clear when I spoke at my workplace a couple weeks ago in our meeting with like 200 of us or whatever. That I'm not speaking for every Black person right now. I can only speak for myself, and I will only speak for myself in my experience. I can't take on the burden of everyone else's experiences, right? That's not my place. Like, if you want to hear from other Black people, then talk to them. You know what I mean? It can't just be one voice alone.
I would 100% agree. I think when you are the only Black individual in a space, I think it's up to you to make that decision of how you choose to take up space. I'm a freelancer and a contractor in PR and I guess integrated marketing and project management. So, but at each space that I'm in, because I work for 2 separate agencies and I'm the only Black woman, right? So it's like I kind of have to figure out how I want to take up space because you will be tokenized. I don't think there's a way to avoid that. And unfortunately, they will come to you. But like, we also have the right to say no. Like, just because they ask you something about anti-racism or racism, period, you can just say no. And I think there's power in that because, again, it's not your job to teach anyone.
Right.
At all.
No, agreed. So I look at I was gonna give an example of someone who's definitely taken that tokenism, but like took it to another level. Masai Ujiri. If we look at what he's done with the Raptors in his time of being there, not only just for Black people, but just minorities and women too. Like when he got there was only one woman working within the Raptors organization. I think now there's about 13. There's a lot of people of color who are working under Masai or in the Raptors organization. So that's an example of someone who kind of took it to the extreme where it's like, yo, I'm going to use my power and my clout to make sure that other people are eaten too. Like, I'm trying to pave the way. And I think that's one way where you can kind of use tokenism to the advantage.
And what I really appreciate about Masai as well is that he was able to take his tokenism and basically it's that idea where once you have a person of, or like a Black person in like the higher up positions, you can do so much. Like he was able to basically establish a whole MBA all over. What is it? A camp, I think, is in Africa.
In Africa, Giants for Africa, that whole program. Yeah.
So now they're trying to develop something, and it gives you the opportunity to tell like young Africans who are always exported as like sports stars to all these European countries that you actually don't have to leave your country to be successful. Like you can create an infrastructure here and be successful and help your people and to the next generation. It's like without that one individual in a position of power, like all of that wouldn't have been able to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need more people like that in power, and like I said, like the allies as well. I do want to talk about something that's like people often forget because of the really heavy climate to do with racism is going on. We forget that we're under like COVID-19 still a thing.
Totally forgot.
Yeah.
Right?
No, right? Like it's definitely still a thing. But things are starting to open up a little bit.
Yeah, man.
So York region, I know it's open today. Like patios are popping over here.
Really? I might hit one up, yo.
Govy might hit one up after this. Are you guys rushing? Are you guys rushing to get back to the streets? I miss the streets, but like, is everybody else? Trust me, I miss it.
I miss the streets too, but I'm staying inside my house. However, I am throwing a barbecue tomorrow, so it's kind of counterintuitive. But I don't know. Like, I can't imagine going to a club. I can't imagine going to a patio. Like, I feel like it's a little too close for comfort, especially knowing like places like Florida recently have had like crazy numbers.
3,000 yesterday, record.
Yeah. I'm like, that could easily be Toronto next week,
right?
If people aren't careful. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna put myself in that environment to take the chance. I'm like, I'm gonna let like the first batch of people go, maybe the second batch of people go, maybe like the 9th batch of people, and then I'll come out. But I'm gonna stay inside.
So home with the select few
I
vibes.
truly believe that Florida is covered in ubia because I don't understand how everybody's going on the road, but somehow Florida is sitting at almost 3,000 cases.
It's an evil world we live in.
No, I don't know what Florida did.
Florida's always been different, though.
They hurt. Huh?
Florida's always been Florida.
Yeah. So that's I'm just like, yo, I don't know who you guys hurt. I don't know what climate this is, but it's thrown to me.
I feel like you have
I'm not ready to go outside.
You have the combination of people that like it's super tropical ass weather all the time. You're used to just being by the beach. You're like, there's no harm in me going with my people that I just have my own social bubble, blah blah blah. And then I don't know. I'm just trying to make excuses. I'm trying to imagine.
There's kind of old people, man.
I feel like the old people aren't even outside.
No, but they're getting sick though. They're getting sick though.
They'll get sick because when grandnephew goes out for spring break and then comes back and gives you a hug, it's over. Lethal hugs.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
No problem with people going outside. Let them go outside. I think people just need to keep sanitizing. Wash yourself when you get in the house. Soak in Dettol. I think the problem is people are also going outside. And they're also forgetting all of the COVID precautions, right?
Yeah,
so
that's it. That's the problem.
So it's just because you're outside, it's don't be under my ass on the bus. Don't stand in front of me. Don't talk to me. Yo, men are starting to chop women again. Listen.
You mean outside the grocery store? Or?
Yo, let's talk about it.
Outside the grocery store. They venturing outside.
I was just at the grocery store. Trust me.
Yo,
you have to line up to get in, so it's perfect time to just swoop
club
in.
Club vibes.
Yo,
it's because we can't go nowhere, Jackie.
Pardon?
It's because we can't go nowhere. When they hit you in the line, it's just where you gonna go, sis? Huh?
Yeah.
You gotta talk to me.
Yeah, so what you out here for? You out here for some fruits, or you getting a whole grocery run? What's your vibe?
Yo, it happened to my girl a couple weeks ago. I was so vexed. My girl messaged me. She went to Shoppers or whatever. And some dudes trying to talk to her. I was like, come on,
Govey got mad?
Come on, bro. Come on, man. But luckily she got saved.
I know what happened.
She got saved because the associate came and gave her some help. But man, I'm like, yo, these
how aggressive was it? Jesus,
here, man. No, he was she said she saw him eyeing her when she got in, and then made his way, found which aisle she was in. It was what are you looking for?
Right.
And she tried to pull out her phone and was walking around, and then finally someone came. So, but yo, dudes are thirsty out here, man. I mean,
there's not many
reach your shot, but
them,
not at my girl.
I'm crying. It's just never that deep. I don't know how badly you really need to talk to a girl. Even if you were to talk to her, what are you guys really gonna do?
I don't know. Some of them don't care about none of these protocols. They're like, I haven't seen a woman in 3 months. Let's just get right to it. I don't know. Jackie, what's your vibes? I'm assuming you're single, right?
Yes, I'm single.
So are you dating during this? Are you open to dating during this whole thing? What's going on?
Realistically, right now would be a perfect time to date. I remember having a conversation with my other friends about online dating and stuff like that. However, I'm just not built for that. I'm
for
my
online
personality.
Dating or this?
Yeah, no, online dating. I'm a people person. So I need to see people. I don't even like texting people like that. So the simple fact that I would have to solely rely on an app to communicate with you or text you, and I won't necessarily be able to see you every single day, that's not for me. So although it's ideal time to date, I'm okay.
Right.
I'm gonna think.
I think you need to try Hinge. That's one thing you gotta try, and I think everything you just said will be wiped out the window.
Everybody loves that app. I wish there was a point in time when I actually tried dating apps.
It's because you can play with the settings and do preferences for just black people or just Asian people.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand 100%.
Yeah, when I told
I'm
these
also
guys,
a firm believer in going outside and meeting human beings, but to each their own.
it's a lost
Like
art.
when
It's a lost
19 and
art.
20-year-olds are just like, I'm on a dating app. I'm just like, these are your glory years. What are you doing?
Right?
Can you go to an island, meet a random man, and have sex in a resort? Like, what's wrong with you?
Wait, hold on.
Katie.
You're doing it wrong.
Katie.
Is that old fashioned? Is that old fashioned?
Is that the old?
Is that how you do
This
it?
is old fashioned.
Is that the way to do it?
Vacation hookups?
The all inclusive vibes?
Live your best life, gain your
Yeah, yeah.
experiences, do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult.
Because you'll never see that person again.
Katie, is this line still
basically.
secure? Is this line still secure?
This line is still secure.
Yo. Okay, but am I a bad person if I want to go outside and like enjoy the little bit of freedom that they gave us? Like I have my mask.
Yeah.
I got my mask and I'm about to wear.
Of course you got something. What is it? What does it say on it? Is it the less black and highly favored on it?
No, not yet. That's coming. That's coming. It's just a smiley face. But like,
I'm against what Pat was doing in the sense where I'm like, yo, it's too early to be going out and doing all these things, right? But once again, people are saying, yo, these social circles are happening. I'm gonna live my best life and do this. It's hot outside, but like, yo, people say I'm so weary when I'm walking down the street and I see people cross me, right? So I don't know.
I got the homies in the backyard waiting for me right now.
Facts. I need it for my mental health, man. Like I can't lock up in my basement the whole like 3 months. Nah.
I feel like as long as you take precaution, you're totally fine. And it honestly depends on like your own comfortability level. Like for me, I feel like a lot of people in my family like are like nurses and doctors and stuff. So like I always hear about, there was like 200 new cases in my hospital or X, Y, and Z. So I feel like my nerves are always on high because I know way too much. And so it honestly depends on like your comfort level. Do your thing. Wash your hands, sanitizer, get your mask. And
Yeah, just be safe. Don't be dumb, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And if you chewed on chicken bones and ate dirt as a kid, I'm sure you're fine.
Right? Hold on, you have to
perfectly.
Yo, you have to get the
Clear
marrow,
the
the
whole
bone marrow.
Rona.
You have to. Yo,
Yeah.
Come on now.
I want to ask a question pretty much about like buying black right now. Like, there's a place in Brampton that everyone a lot of people went to. It's called like DNW Beauty. I don't know, but like all the employees are black, but the owners are Chinese. Like, I don't know if it's just like the same thing in every city, but like where exactly? If I want to get a nice beard, oil or something for my hair, where would you recommend?
Etsy.
I guess. It's funny because we actually had an episode about like hair stores. It was like a third episode where we interviewed this girl that I know who owns a black-owned beauty supply store in Scarborough, and she had posted like a bunch of different stores around the city that are also black-owned, but that's a really big issue in our community when it comes to like beauty supply stores. They're all mainly owned by Koreans, and they are highly staffed by black women who specialize in hair. But it's unfortunate that that space has been like taken over by non-blacks, because that is like the epitome of like what black women, like that's us as black women. That's the essence of a black woman. Like that's our hair, that's our makeup, that's the place where you can walk in with like your head tie and no one's gonna judge you.
Chris Rock taught me in good hair that we don't own shit.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate, but there are places around the city. I don't know of places off the top of my head other than All Star Beauty on Eglinton and Kennedy, but yeah.
Free plug, all right.
And then Curl Shop, which is a black-owned hair company, also sells has a men's line. Because all y'all got some strong beards, so I feel you.
Oh, you don't know.
They all connect. Everyone's connected.
Brandon's gassed right now because he's not.
It took him so long. It took him like 10 years.
3 months, right? So I'm nice.
That's just a COVID beard, though.
Oh,
I feel him. I genuinely feel him. I truly believe when your beard doesn't connect, it's the equivalent of a girl losing her edges. And it takes a while to come back. And I feel you. I feel you immensely.
I love it. Oh,
Okay.
man.
So we have an issue in our community regarding like supporting black business with the hair stores. That's a whole issue within itself. And that just goes back to us not having access to production or supply manufacturers, that kind of stuff. And to be totally honest with you, you can watch documentaries on YouTube, you can watch documentaries on, pretty sure on Netflix as well, where it's just like they kind of created it like that. Like they've held the ownership of like manufacturing and supply chains. Like they actively tell their manufacturers not to work with Black businesses.
Wow.
So this is a whole issue within the, I guess, like the beauty industry, the Black beauty industry, that people have been honestly on for a while.
And this is what we've been
because
saying.
it doesn't make
systemic.
sense.
It's systemic. It's not something that you can fix on your own. Just like you can, like we can be as loud as we want to be and be as vocal as we want, but like until we have somebody else that's an ally that is not of us, that is currently part of the system that we have in place, it's very difficult to make those changes.
100%. And like I want to see us outside of not just obviously beauty is important and food and restaurants, but like I want to see more Black businesses in like I want to see grocery stores. I want to see like banks. I want to see like all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like I want to be able to actually buy Black in everything I need. Like I want us to get to that point.
Oh, thank
But
you.
I also feel like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe it's as devil's advocate. I feel like as a people, we also need to expand ourselves in terms of what we go into, right? Because everybody nowadays is an entrepreneur, a business owner, CEO, or that's what they put in their bio. But everybody's doing the same businesses, right? So it's like, yes, we need Black-owned grocery stores. Yes, we need Black-owned nail salons. We need Black-owned banks, credit unions, literally across the board. But when everybody and their mom is selling clothes, putting logos on champion tier 1 gear, or lashing their friends, or tinting brows, it's just like, what do you like? When do we expand, right? And it's the same thing I find with education too. We need to expand our education in terms of what we're learning. And I say this because when I was going to post-secondary school, I remember the influx of social work students that were Black. I remember the influx of nursing students that were Black. Don't get me wrong. This is not just a thing for Black people, but because in high schools, that's the professions that we're pushed into. Nurturing, putting our trauma aside, this whole like, we're going to hold space for everybody else but ourselves. But I also still am just like, no, like, don't fall to the trap. Expand. You want to be an engineer, be an engineer. You want to be an architect, be an architect. If you want to be a janitor, be a goddamn janitor. And I think that's perfectly fine. And I think as a people too, we got to stop shaming each other regarding our professions and what we do. It's fine. It's fine to work for someone. Everybody does not need to be an entrepreneur. But not everybody can be an entrepreneur.
So having a boss is not the same as calling another man daddy?
Oh. I was not ready for that.
Me neither.
They didn't know. They don't know.
That's Dame Dash, man. He taught me. He said if I have a boss, that's the same as calling another man daddy.
No, it's not.
But see, like, I think that mentality works.
I think he clarified. He clarified later that like he didn't really like. Yeah, you can have a boss, but like, yeah.
And the funny thing is though, like, I would completely understand that sentiment, but I also feel like too, people need to realize not everybody has a mind like Dame Dash, and I truly believe not every idea you have, you're supposed to execute. Learn how to sell business. And that's what a lot of people forget is like a lot of white folks sell their business ideas. You start it, you start to flesh it out, and you look for that. I feel like it's just like, just sell the idea, because some people are not good at fleshing out a business idea. Some people don't have the personality to stick with something. So it's like, include your friends on anything you do, because they might be able to execute it better than you, and that's okay. You can have ownership in something without being the face of it. But all of us want to be the face of our businesses for what? For what? God don't like ugly, and he ain't too fond of cute, and not everybody is that cute. I promise you.
Holy bars! What the fuck? Where's my gunshots? Oh my god!
Give us something for that, yo. Give us something for that, yo.
You fucking right.
It's such a good point that you made about education. Like, I'm a high school teacher right now, and like once again, like my goal, and something I've even brought up in our meeting about anti-Black racism in Peel, just in general, the fact that there needs to be culturally responsive and relevant pedagogy. That means like more Black excellence. We like just learning more about our Black excellence in just our community in general, right? So just informing people more about that stuff and being encouraging to students, saying like, yo, you can do this, you can do that, rather than just streaming black students towards applied classes.
Bro, can I speak on that for a minute? Because I was one of those kids that was supposed to do that. Like I had a teacher, an English teacher that kind of said, yo, you're getting 69. You should probably just do applied next year. If I did that, obviously I wouldn't have went to university. I wouldn't have met you guys. This podcast wouldn't exist. I wouldn't have done my master's. There's so many things that wouldn't ever happen, right? I found out that Malik's boy who wrote, so my brother wrote an article that was featured front page of the Star last week or a week and a half ago with his boy, Jordan. He was just one of those kids that unfortunately listened, and he only did applied classes and never had the same opportunities to go to university or do anything that I did because I didn't listen. And that's a serious, crazy problem.
Well, yeah, you limit their education completely. You push a kid towards college classes, they go to college, then they realize, okay, cool, I'm done college, but I can get the job, but I can't advance in the job. And then they don't want to turn around and go back to school because unfortunately, the system isn't designed for us to win. So as a black kid, as a graduate, between OSAP and everything else that Cameron said, was it Cameron? Yeah. Cameron. You can't afford a goddamn thing. So you turn around and you just got to work. So the advancement of your education stops at that point, again, because they counted you out so long ago. How do you tell a student that, oh, you're getting a 69, you should drop to applied? God forbid you tell him to, I don't know, study?
Right?
Sit
down the controller, pick up a book.
Exactly. But if you were playing ball and you fumbled the ball, I'm sure they would be like, yo, come to practice at 7 a.m.
So that's the first thing that they always they always said. They're like, yo, but Shaq's a great basketball player. So we just don't want like you to like make him do something that he might not want to do or whatever. It's like, no, this has nothing to do with basketball. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you know? And mind you, also the class average was like 65. So
that is crazy.
Chemistry? What was this?
This is English. This is like academic English, grade 11.
Then English, that's not a good teacher then, for sure.
I failed English in grade 11. I failed English in grade 12. My mother asked me multiple times how. Yep.
What language you speak?
Yeah, that's always the roast. That's always the roast. Always the roast.
100%. But when I tell you, my mother was always completely flabbergasted by the fact that I speak the language, but I failed the class. But honestly, it was because it's not because I wasn't good at it.
It's a subjective thing from
Sometimes you just don't want to do it. And that wasn't a matter of it wasn't an intellect thing. It was just a trying thing. It wasn't like, oh, go to college classes, you'll do better. First of all, I was never going to take a college class in my life. Why? Because again, I wish I had somebody who educated me on the difference between university, college, and college classes. And this is why schools need to, at the end of the day, offer things like the UC classes, which are college and university.
That helped me a lot. I got into university off of a 90, one of those.
Exactly. Because that's that middle ground. Before, say, you completely tell them like, okay, this is the path you need to take. It's like, nah, drop down one if you need to, but at least you'll still be able to take this route if that's what you choose.
Yes.
God forbid counselors just talk to students a little bit.
Right?
Yo, Brandon, talk to your friends.
No, they're not my friends, by the way, but there's nothing to it. They say guidance counselors. They're asking for more black guidance counselors, but it's like, why do you need more black? Like, how about
because the white ones aren't doing it?
Do a better job with like just caring about kids and caring about their futures, right? So we get the burden again, be like, yo, Brandon, you're good at this. You should become a guidance. I'm like, I can help out kids in different ways, but don't just force black people just to be guidance. Be better people. Be better
white people. That is, trust me. Nobody better steal my ideas because I know you guys are. But be better white people. That's going to be on everything.
100%.
I love it.
So I want to go back to your podcast as we wrap this. When do you guys drop your episodes? Where can we find it? Give us the name again. All of that good stuff. Plug your shit. This is your time. This is your time. I'm giving it to you.
Plug that.
Go ahead, Katie. It's all you.
We drop episodes every Monday when we're on schedule.
Oh, you guys are really us.
Right
you guys are really us.
We've had technical difficulties.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Yeah. So we drop every Monday. We can be found at Black and Pod on Instagram, Spotify, and iTunes, which is BLACKANDPOD, Black and, say it with your chest. Right? So yeah, that's where you guys can find us.
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram, so it can be a bop. We did our first live a couple weeks ago, which was really kind of
So did we.
I saw that.
Oh, thank you. It was fun. I liked it, man.
Yeah, no, we got to do that soon more often, and maybe we'll do some lives and do a little bit this whole.
This would be dope as a live.
I'm telling you, right?
Listen,
I'm telling you,
especially with Crystal, it'd be it would be a really.
So
really
what's
good
Crystal's role on the pod? Now you bring that up.
Crystal, how do you explain Crystal? She is just, I feel like she's a wealth of knowledge from because she's like me and Katie are 27. Crystal, I believe, is 33. So she's a wealth of knowledge, but she's also hilarious at the same time. No bullshit, not with the shits at all, but also like a huge heart.
It gives good perspective, I find, in terms of like the age differences mean that me and Jackie have grown up in such a completely different space than Crystal has, because that age difference is what, like 5-ish years, I believe. So yeah.
But it works though.
That's like us. I'm the elder statesman. I'm very mature out of all these guys. I'm the one turning 30 this year.
Second.
No, we're just a year apart, and we went to it's the same thing. But honestly, guys, we really appreciate you guys joining us. Where's my applauso? A little bit, boom.
Definitely.
A little bit. Really appreciate you guys here. Air horn, gunshots. I really mean it when I say we need to do this again in person.
Yes.
No, so down. I'm so down for this.
It's gonna be so fun. I had a good time with you guys.
Definitely, man.
Agreed.
Definitely glad it worked out.
We gotta have you guys on our podcast,
right?
I'm excited for you guys to be asking the questions and us just be chilling here and
facts. Just be like,
can't wait for that.
Grill you guys.
I feel like Crystal has an episode in mind based solely on a conversation that we had last night with my own boyfriend, and you guys are not ready. I promise you, you're not ready for Crystal's question.
I'm sorry. I'm so ready. Listen,
if you don't know, we Toronto men are battle tested. So
that's what we said last time.
So
Brandon is gonna be he's gonna be a little bit flustered. Patrick might just say pass a couple times. I got you.
I will never be flustered. I'm ready. For that.
That's what they think. When I tell you, Jackie, they ain't never dealt with black hand though.
That's what I'm saying. I really don't think, not for the faint-hearted. So
okay.
Give us a test right now. Can we get something real?
Do you guys have a little sample question that you can lend us on our pod, or is that too much pressure to just throw out there?
So I'm gonna ask all of you guys because this is
shit, she had it ready. Let me take a sip. Go for it. Let me take a sip.
Let's do this. Okay.
Got you. Let me get my vodka soda ready.
How every man grabbed a cup. Oh my god.
Let's do it.
Okay, go ahead.
It's okay. Just breathe deeply in the corner there because y'all got your cup. But I don't know if this is loaded, but have you guys been keeping up with the conversations surrounding the protection and support of Black women and regarding Black men? And what are your thoughts? Because I feel like everyone is asking Black women this, but I don't know how many times we've actively heard Black men answer this.
Yeah.
So I don't think I can say that I've kept up to know the root of how a lot of these dialogues have begun. I did see one horrifying clip of a bunch of dudes in New York somewhere that threw a girl into a dumpster. And I don't know the context. There's no context. That was just fucking horrible. But I don't know anything else other than that. I'm not sure. Is that really what spurred this? Is that just one thing that kind of happened?
It was one of few things. It was the whole death of the 19-year-old girl, Toyin. And then right after that, it was that garbage, the trash can thing.
Right.
But it was already a conversation that was being had because, as me and Katie spoke about last night, as of recently, there's this new divide within like the Black Lives Matter movement where it's like all Black Lives Matter or trans lives matter, and we started then Black female lives matter, like that conversation kind of happened. So I think that's where this discourse kind of.
I feel like if you're with the shits and if you're with Black Lives Matter, you're with everybody that falls under that umbrella. And if you're one of these people that I've seen in that like that video or doing things of that nature that are just completely disrespectful to black women, black trans women, or whatever the scenario is, you're not under that umbrella. You're the ops. You clearly don't get it. And because people were in that very specific scenario were ready to like out the people that were doing it, I did take a look at like their Instagram pages of these guys, and they're not us. They're clearly, I don't know what the situation was. They're not us. That's not representative of anybody I know. So to me, I just don't want the movement to become a thing where it's like, listen, a lot of black men echo this sentiment, and we need to have a divide and attack black men as a thing, or anybody for that matter. I think the whole division is kind of counterproductive to the general movement. And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be something that should be spoken about, brought up, discussed, and brought to light. But I don't want people to get the idea that there's a general problem with a lot of black men treating black women like they shouldn't be, or trans people, or whatever it is. That I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. I don't think that I feel, because I haven't seen too much of it, and I don't know anybody who feels that way, especially being a black man, that has those kind of feelings and has acted in those horrible ways, that I don't see it as like a grander issue that needs to be that I've had to like face. So I think I would say for myself, like I didn't know about those two situations, but having grown up with, you know, a sister who's 10 years older than me, and of course my mom, and then just being surrounded by strong black women my whole life, from like my aunts and older cousins and everything like that. For me, it's always been a mainstay to be protecting or sticking up for obviously the women in my family, but it extends beyond that, and just black women, period. So like, you know, these guys call me Pastor Govey or whatever, but like for real, like I don't really swear. I hate using, like, I won't use the word, like, I'm gonna say it now, but like bitch, like I hate that word, and that's not something I will say. Because I think, especially when a man says it about a woman, that's just like the worst. You know what I mean? So for me,
it's a different sentiment.
Exactly. So for me, it's like I didn't know about those situations, so I can't really speak about like what you guys were saying there. But for me, it's really about us as black men really taking, like, again, bring it back to the Bible, taking our rib as our women and protecting them and taking them under our protection and our shelter, and making sure that no one is coming against them.
The world generous speaking.
You deserve the drop, bro. That was I loved it.
No, same thing. No, honestly, same thing. Once growing up with a really strong mother, and obviously strong aunts, strong, you know, black figures in my life that are female as well too. I echo the same sentiments that Patrick has, of course, right? So once again, they're in it just as we are, in a sense, and we're all one. So once again, if you're not black, trans lives matter, if you're not anything else, you're dividing yourself. And some cases are just, people have been told that they're just pro-black, and it's like, that's not the case. It's like, you have to be, you know, all of them, which Black Lives Matter, right? So I don't know. There's so many things I can say on the matter, but I didn't know about those two isolated situations, but I just know that we've always had to uplift our sisters, our queens, as you like to say. Yes.
Fuck. Okay, so now I know that we got to be ready for this conversation. I'm gonna have a whole bottle. I'm gonna have a lot of vodka sodas, actually.
I'll let you guys know from now, I don't like two-dimensional answers. I believe that vague questions get vague answers, so we'll ask specific questions, which means I want specific answers.
Right.
Okay. All right, we coming ready.
Jackie also asks very specific questions. That's what I'm telling you guys.
So don't.
I know Jackie from a little bit, yo. I know Jackie for a little bit.
Also, she's not shy.
I'll have something for you guys. I'll have something for you guys. Don't worry.
Well, honestly, yeah, we appreciate you guys joining us on the pod. Like, this was really fun. We had a lot of serious discussions, and I'm happy that we were able to have them with you guys. Like, this wouldn't have been what it was without having some black women on our podcast. So I appreciate you guys joining us on our platform.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
It's very fun. Thank you.
I'm sure we'll talk soon,
first,
though.
Like, time being guests on an episode, so we appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was real natural. I appreciate it. This was awesome.
That's good.
This is unreal. Yeah. Much respect.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Peace out. Yes, sir.
Wow, that was interesting.
Okay.
That was a pod. I feel like that was a good combination of like tackling some serious conversations with really good answers and keeping it entertaining. I hope.
We'll find out.
Oh, that was good, man.
It was good. It was good.
It was good to get the perspective of others, especially the black women that are going through the same fight that we're going through, and seeing like, yo, there's so many issues that we have to tackle, right? And they have the same sentiments, so they have even more knowledge on it. So that was really good, man. I want to do that again. Facts. Was I ready for that last question though? I don't know.
I know we got to do our homework.
Don't worry. Yeah. No, honestly, that's something that like I kind of vaguely saw on Twitter a little bit. And there's a couple things like it wasn't just that. Like the J. Cole shit, I had no idea about. I didn't know
the
anything.
J. Cole really stemmed from that.
Twitter moves so fast. It moves so fast. If I woke up a few hours too late, I missed what the problem was. So, I'm happy we had that discussion, and I think it was entertaining. So, Gubby, give me your socials, bro.
The word general speaking.
Yes. Patrick Dennis Jr., Instagram, Twitter. Check out the website, and check out our playlist too, man. Not with the Hype.
Not with the Hype playlist on Spotify and Apple Music as well. Brampton.
Brampton's finest.
Place for 3 months. Once again, doing a great job. Yes. G_JB on Instagram and Twitch. Yeah, shut up, Patrick.
G_JB. Fix that shit. Anyways, it's
underscore.
And myself.
Shop like Shaq. You waste yo.
Shop like Shaq with a K. No, the Hype episode was litty. We'll see you guys next week.
Going out like no 6'9" till I catch him dog in his bitch down. All them crazy girls that shit flying on your head, nigga. We got white pints, we got green pints, we got fake ass and red, nigga. Heavy can for pockets, tell that bitch you CMG. Got the whole city on lock, bitch, from the west back to the east. Bet not ask if you don't need them, come around if you ain't turned. All still doing a dub, I serve more than
not with the Hype,
I got work from the third back to the first. Never close my eyes in traffic, only pray when I'm in church. Reach for my bitch and get murked. I ain't talking wire in. In the city, we were bugs. Atlanta think them wires in. Teamer gon' can't hire Tim. Shit, your best bet is TA. Quick to broad day, son, we laughing. Free my dog, he won't BH. Name the plate, bitch, bet we ate. Did the track, just got the rave. Make a bitch feel she in space. Really, bitches in the way. If she a turn bitch, I'ma probably fuck her raw. She got a main nigga. I ain't tripping, dog. You saw we brought cocaine with us. Heard them hoes like to do it. Fuck her best friend right now and make them hoes get into it. She a turn bitch. I'll probably fuck